Hi, let's begin the video, shall we? Hello, my name is Echo. I'm alone at my friend's house right now, in my fancy-ass pajama shirt. This is actually a men's shirt that I bought because I really liked it, and then I realized I can't wear it in public because it means something very different on a woman. So a couple weeks ago, I made a sketchbook tour video, and a lot of people really liked it, so I've decided to go ahead and continue the series and try and make videos for the rest of my art books. However, I don't want to just suddenly flood my channel with nothing but sketchbook tours because that would be kind of ridiculous. So what I'm going to try to do is just have the sketchbook tours in combination with my normal videos. That way the people who don't really care about sketchbook tours or art crap can just watch my normal vlog videos. At the moment, my ideal schedule would be uploading vlogs on Monday and sketchbook tours on Friday. And that's what I'm going to shoot for, but no guarantees because I have no focus whatsoever. Moving on, let's talk about the artwork that I'm about to show you. In the last video, I showed my second oldest collection of artwork. The one I'm going to show you today is actually one of the oldest collections of artwork I have. It's from 2006, 2007, with a couple 2005 drawings thrown in, freaking decade ago. These drawings are 10 years old, so please have that in mind when issuing judgment. At this stage in my artistic journey, I was going through a phase where I was really into anime and manga, so there's a lot. But that's enough about my life. Let's move on to the artwork. I call this one the Fairly Morbid, Mostly Anime book because it's fairly morbid and mostly anime. You will see why. Okay, let's begin. And immediately we have some manga. There we go. This is a 2-page comic that I had made that was never finished, inspired by manga, so it's actually read from this corner to here and there to there. And the reason that I made it was to remember the proper way to draw kimonos. As you can see, I penciled it in and started inking it, but then didn't finish the shading, and I didn't finish coloring it either. I had also planned to put all the writing in digitally. Sato, are you ready to go? I'm ready. Sato, your kimono's backwards. Only the dead wear it like that. Well, I guess I've been dying since I was born. Does that count? How morbid. The inner workings of my teenage mind. The reason that I put them in this front pocket instead of in the plastic sleeves was because I didn't want to cut them down and they were too big to fit. And then here we have a beautiful bug-eyed monster that was inspired by a book cover that I once saw. I believe I was also trying to work with ballpoint pens as an art medium. I sound so fancy. I was like 12 or something. This one was based on another book cover that I really liked, so I tried to redraw the monster completely. I believe this was a nymph that I drew after we were studying Greek mythology in my English course. Next! This was another instance where I was just practicing drawing the anatomy of faces, as well as trying to just have fun with color. I believe this one was just inspired by the general superhero style. I drew this one after I'd seen the Powerpuff Girls movie because I love this one shot where you can see the city. Words. Bloop. I believe this style was inspired by a cross between the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Samurai Jack. First I started by drawing a really beautifully creepy vampire, and then I tried to replicate that style but doing a sort of self-portrait. When I was younger I always wore a hoodie, these sweatpants, and a ponytail. So this was kind of a self-portrait. This is about the time where I learned how to ink in my drawings. I realized that if you draw something roughly in pencil, you can make all of your final lines in pen and then erase the pencil afterwards, leaving something that looks incredibly intentional and precise. Look at me in my art terms. Based on our time zone, there was an hour after we got out of school where cable was still showing kids shows before they started playing all the good cartoons. So my younger sister and I would be stuck watching things like Everybody Loves Raymond and Friends and other more adult TV shows. So this was inspired by the mother from Everybody Loves Raymond. This one was a self-portrait I did after I found a really beautiful black button sitting on the sidewalk. I did not intend to return that button. This is another one of my absolute favorite drawings. This is also one of the first silhouette drawings that I had made. You can see that I was still using felt pens as opposed to gel pens because there's a bunch of weird texture in it. This was a drawing of the Kuchisake Onna, which is the slit-mouthed woman. I'm probably saying that horribly, but it's a Japanese scary story that I had found online, and it was inspiring. I've had a couple people say that this just looks like a very hairy tie, and I kind of agree, but that's what came to mind when I was that age. Swipe. These were just a bunch of self-portrait scribbles, and then over here we have another mini self-portrait that I did, and this adorable little creature was supposed to be my soul. I like the idea of having your soul as a friend, so this is supposed to be a representation of my soul. So I just drew him very, very cute. Cool. Swipe next. And then here we have 2 more self-portraits. Usually when I was drawing self-portraits, it's because I was trying to develop a personal style. Looking back on it, I still really like this one. The majority of them were inspired by cartoons or pictures that I found online. I love taking inspiration from other artists to try and develop my own style. And as you can see here, I am carrying a sketchbook because it's very, very me. I wore glasses all the time when I was in high school, so I also tried to draw one of me without glasses. Moving on. And then here we have some adorable animals. This one is a little fox. You probably can't tell from looking at him, but he is very much planning to take over the world with these hands. And then here we have an adorable little raccoon. When I was really, really little, I remember my mom telling me that we used to have raccoons that would get into our garbage. So my dad would leave them sugar cubes. Then they would take the sugar cubes and try to wash them in the river. And of course they would dissolve, and then they would spend hours looking for them. I always thought it was a really funny story when I was little. This one was inspired by Invader Zim. I always imagined the pants being black and purple stripes. And then this is Danny. Danny was a character that I drew a lot in a bunch of different ways. When I was a kid, I made up an entire world in my head, and Danny was one of the people who lived there. I remember when I drew this, I was thinking that he was a half Grim Reaper, so I gave him a Grim Reaper's hood, and he's actually hovering like a ghost. Okay, that's enough of an explanation. Let's go to the next one. This one is actually a redraw sketch of an image that I found online, and the reason that I was redrawing it was because I wanted to learn how to draw animal legs, and then this one was me trying to replicate that drawing in a different pose. With this one, I was trying to make an image that was as abstract as is humanly possible. I wanted to make this as mismatched as I could, which is why she has short, poofy hair on one side and then straight, long hair on the other. Long sleeve, short sleeve, a square collar, a round collar. Gravity's going down and to the sides. The bars in the window are curved and straight. I gave her a highlight in one eye, whereas the other one is completely solid. It amazes me that I can still remember drawing these and how I was feeling and what was going on in my mind when I was drawing them. This one is fairly dark. As you can see, her heart has been ripped out, and I drew this because I was angry at a girl who had said something really heartless. I really love the blue pen, but I also wanted to see it in black and white, so I'd photocopied it twice. But after I drew it, I really loved how the eyes came out, so I tried to redraw one with the same style, but it still didn't come out as beautifully as the first one. You know, as beautiful as a bloody anime character with her heart ripped out can be. I had originally drawn it in blue and then photocopied it, but I couldn't fit them all into one page. With this one, I was just practicing the anime manga style, and it actually came out looking just like a girl from my high school. I don't really read manga as much anymore, but when I was in high school, I read it all the time, and Yu Watase was my favorite manga artist. So I tried to replicate her style and make a girl who looked a little bit more like a princess, but I was trying extremely hard to give the face the same proportions as her artwork. Okay, cool, let's move on. This is just more practice. This is a girl, this is another girl. Girl with short hair, girl with long hair, with pupils, without pupils, hoodie, tie. Yep, those are definitely drawings. More practice. If anyone cares, I do my pencil sketches with a 0.5mm mechanical pencil. With this one, I remember thinking that I wanted her to look like she was from an insane asylum, so I tried to give her a little bit of a hospital robe. And then this one is something that I have struggled with for the longest time, and I still feel like I struggle with it. If you'll notice in the last 6 drawings, they were all straightforward portraits. And part of the reason for that was that I was terrible at profiles. So at one point, I took it upon myself to make one perfect profile, because then I could use that as inspiration for the rest of forever. Drawing a realistic profile that doesn't look hideous is incredibly difficult. So after finding quite a few sources, I was able to make one decent base drawing. So this is the base that I was using to figure out the proportions for side profiles, and I'm still trying to figure out how to do them correctly. Here we have a variety of male hair. I've always had a lot of difficulty drawing men's hairstyles, so I sat down one day and just tried to draw as many hairstyles as I could. And then over here we have a couple women's hairstyles as well. Yay, hair! With this one, I was playing with a ballpoint pen and I scribbled out something, but ended up really liking it in the end, but it didn't seem refined enough, so I traced it to get the right lines, but I couldn't throw away the original sketch, so I just kept them both. This is actually kind of a good before and after. This is what I would normally draw in pencil, and then this is what it would look like after I drew over it with pen and then erased the pencil. This is just me practicing drawing a male figure, and then in this one I was just trying to practice drawing the proportions of a full-bodied figure, because if you'll notice, I usually stopped at mid-torso. Next page. I believe this was a robotic suit inspired by Evangelion. I think that's how you say it. I could be saying it wrong. We used to have this one teacher who was also really into anime, and he would lend my younger sister and I his box sets, and one of the ones that he lent us was Evangelion. And then here we just have another person who lived in my imaginary world, but I wanted to draw her with another kind of fancy princessy kind of outfit. This one was a scribble that I couldn't part with. With this one I was practicing eyes and positioning of elements on the face. I had seen one of the drawings that Yu Watase did where she had made these bobby pin type things in the hair, and so I just wanted to make something that also had those. And then on the other side, I believe this one was a redraw from my favorite anime Furikuri, spelled FLCL. It's only 6 episodes. If you haven't seen it, I always recommend it because it is really well done, in my opinion. With this one I was playing with thicknesses of lines, so I made the entire outline of the figure thicker than all of the lines that compose the figure. I believe I saw something like that in a Japanese advertisement, and it just looked really intriguing. With this one I was trying to draw an extremely sad figure because I wanted to try blurring the eyes as a way to express severe sorrow or sadness, although I can't remember if I had seen that somewhere or just decided to do it myself. With both of these I was just practicing the placement of facial elements like the eyes, the eyebrows, the nose, in relation to the ears and the facial shape. Just practice all the time and you'll get better. Drawing is something you learn to do by doing it. And then here with this one I have no idea what the inspiration or anything behind it was. In fact, I barely remember drawing this one. I probably did this one out of boredom in my Spanish class. So let's talk about the other side. I believe with this one I started trying to draw something that was not gender specific, and then I added pigtails and eyelashes because I like pigtails and eyelashes, and that's the end result of it. This was another one that was inspired by Foolikuli. I'm pretty sure when I drew this one I was working at the grocery store, so I went ahead and gave her my uniform. And then this one was inspired by another anime that my younger sister was actually watching called Strawberry Marshmallow. I want to say this one was partially a self-portrait, but not entirely, so it was more like an original character inspired by my personal appearance. Also, I really want this backpack. A lot. This was me playing with a ballpoint pen, and then this one was yet again one that was inspired partially by the style of Furikuri. Whistling, eyes, backward baseball cap, overalls, words. Next. With this one I saw a really pretty kimono online that I thought would be really cool to draw. Also I had just found out about screen tone, so I was kind of trying to draw a screen tone texture on the kimono. One of the main reasons that I kept it is because I had a very difficult time drawing hands, as do most people. But the hands in this one just came across so beautifully that I wanted to keep it for future reference. And then on the other side, we have a cat, a kitty cat. And she can dance, 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 and she can dance, dance, dance. She says sexy things to herself while she's dancing, her evocative posing. With this one, I was yet again trying to develop my own personal style, but I was having this daydream about a homeless girl living in a building with a broken window. I was also trying to get a layering effect by using ink and pencil to create depth. Yeah, art terms. And then over here we have an anime sketch of a friend of mine named Danica, and then over here we have some character design scribbles for a comic that I was debating making. And the last bit, I had just gotten this really crappy, really tiny pocket camera, and I was trying to get pictures of my jacket so that I could figure out how to draw wrinkles, because drawing realistic wrinkles in clothing is something that's also extremely difficult. Drawing realistic wrinkles in fabric is something that a lot of artists overlook, so I decided to try and practice just drawing the wrinkles in my own jacket. So those are all based on pictures of my jacket that I was taking. And then in the back pocket, we have got some tracings from a Bleach manga that I found at the library, a bunch of tracings from a manga that I bought online, Absolute Boyfriend, a basic full-body male sketch, some very creepy but beautiful images that my backpack ate, and a tracing from a How to Draw Anatomy book to help learn how to draw shoulders. And that is the entire binder. I hope that you liked that. Damn it, the refrigerator just turned on. If you would like more of my face in your face, then you can feel free to subscribe. I try to put out videos every week, but it's usually more like every 10 days or 14 because I have no focus. What? Ooh. I just blinded myself by looking into the sun. What was going on? I used to do a series on this channel called BAM, where I would just suggest small YouTubers to watch. And at the moment, I have this massive folder on my computer that is just full of small YouTubers that I've been meaning to make BAM videos about, but I've been too antisocial to actually reach out and contact them. So I'm going to be making a BAM video soon. So if you don't know now, you know. If you would like to see my last sketchbook tour video, then you can click here. I tend to go through crazy phases with my artwork, so every binder that I do in this is gonna be different. You should have an awesome day because you're awesome and you deserve 50 awesome points because you're just so freaking awesome, and I will see you later. Bye. See what's mine and take it. Pajama shirt.